Well, I think, we were just talking with Chandler, who's obviously a very young guy. He's probably the youngest guy in the room there, 19 years old. And he said, how important it was to have these programs to get these young men engaged and give them something to do. I think so often that, valleys get, and it's not just the Scottish Rite, it's Freemasonry in general. We get sort of stuck in our ways in terms of, okay, well, you're going to become a steward, then you're going to become a deacon, then you're going to go through the chairs. And you get sort of wrapped up in the officer work, but there are so many other things that encompass this great fraternity that we just, the VMAP provides a little bit of guidance, a little bit of structure to direct men in those things that they always could have done, but it wasn't just written down in a list. So this sort of gives a little direction to be able to say, hey, do you guys want to do this? And let them take advantage of that.
Exactly. And that's what is so great about that booklet. It's a checkoff sheet. Can you do this? Well, maybe not necessarily this, but maybe you can do something else. One of the biggest successes the Valley of Pensacola had was young guys calling the older guys for the brother-to-brother program. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, we had the young guys calling the older ones, and then we found out that the old guys got re-energized by the young guys coming back and saying, hey, what about your Masonic experience? What have you done in your Masonic experience, and how can I be like you were? Can you imagine a 21 or 19-year-old coming to you and saying, hey, I want some of your knowledge. I want some of your experience. I want to love this fraternity like you did for 40 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when it's exciting, and it does even myself, I'm a pretty, I do the Scottish Rite podcast, for goodness sake. I'm a pretty engaged guy, but, it's exciting to talk to somebody like Chandler, a young guy who's into it, who's engaged, and who wants to do more. And so, those of us who have done a few things, or those of us who are engaged, it's up to us to reach out to the guys behind us and say, hey, come along. And like I said, I think VMAP gives us the bones to be able to do that.
Exactly. One of the best things that I've ever seen is a guy who came to a reunion, 93 years old, had to find a ride. He was that passionate about getting to the reunion. And he picked out the 21-year-old who was in the class and pulled him aside and said, hey, let me share with you what I've experienced. And it just touched your heart. You almost want to sit down and cry.
That's awesome. That is a, and you hear stories like that all the time. And I think that we're really getting past that habit we have, and it's a bad habit to say, well, that's not how we used to do things. Well, no, it's not. We used to do things, and that was great, but this is now, and we're going to do things this way, and that's going to be great too, and together we're all going to get better. And just like we're taught in our first couple of Masonic lectures, we're going to gather wisdom all along our lives, and it's great that you guys in your valley are doing it, and so many valleys across the country participated last year. It's been a huge success, which is why we're having these workshops. It's like we want to make it even better at this point, which is such a great thing. So now,
I think people are going to find it really exciting when they get back, when all this stuff comes out from these 3 regional conferences, especially Scottsdale coming up. People are going to be re-engaged, re-energized, and look at the VMAP process as not a check and balance, but as a way of saying, hey, I really care. I want this fraternity to go into the next century. Not just worry about next year, but the next century.
Well, and the other thing too, that's cool is I come from a very young valley. We've only been around about 3 years, and we have struggles for sure. We don't have as many members, we don't have as many things, we don't have as much money. But the cool thing is we get to build something. We can't build the House of the Temple. Somebody built it, and it wasn't us, and we get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. But it's nice to build something on your own. In terms of VMAP, every man who is a Scottish Rite Mason right now can help shape and build VMAP for the future generations. And that is so great, to be able to be on the ground floor of something. So if you're a Scottish Rite Mason listening to this, or you want to be a Scottish Rite Mason, you're listening to this, this is your opportunity to build something and be a part of laying the foundation so the future generations can enjoy the fruit of your labor and our labor. And I think that's one of the real blessings of VMAP at this point.
Exactly. And the people who are here in Houston will be laying the groundwork for the next generation. Scottsdale will be building on that, and then again in Charlotte. It's such a neat thing that we're going all over the southern jurisdiction, not just one place and saying, okay, you got to come here and try and improve the fraternity. We're going to you.
Absolutely. I think one of the things we do need to work on as well, I think we need to invent cloning a little better, and we need to clone a whole bunch of kids like Chandler, and I call him kid, he's a man, because engaged, interested, part of the ritual, likes to speak, likes to be part. So let's clone him. Maybe we should throw some money towards that, too.
I like that. That could be proficiency number 12.
Yeah, exactly.
Cloning new people.
Well, I'm sure somewhere there's a conspiracy theorist accusing us of it anyway, so we might as well do it.
Well, that's secret sauce, right?
Absolutely. All right. Well, Kurt, thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes. What are you going to be at the other workshops as well?
I will be at Charlotte, and I will be in Scottsdale, so I'm looking forward to meeting the brothers out there.
Excellent. So, guys, if you're thinking about making that trip, be on the lookout for Kurt. He is a big part of things, and you'll see him speaking and carrying that message as to how important VMAP is, and that, if forget everything else we've said, VMAP is fun. So do it for that reason, if nothing else. Just, isn't that one of the reasons you became a Mason,
It's lots of fun, and it'll re-engage your passion for me.
Kurt, thank you very much. I appreciate you being one of the guinea pigs here on our first test run of the Tyler's Place Live. This is the first time we've done a live broadcast, and certainly never tried to do it where one of us is in Baltimore, the other of us is in Houston. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right, is Brother Dean Albin still hanging about, or where have we lost him?
He's about 10 steps from me, and I'm going to hand the
All
microphone
right.
over to him now.
You'll see what we've got next on the Hit Parade. Once again, you're listening to the Tyler's Place Live. This is the first time we've had a chance to do the podcast live. You might have caught a couple of our test runs over the last day or two where it was just myself and the illustrious Brother Dean Albin talking and testing microphones and things like that. But at this point, we've had a great interview this morning with Chandler Gordon. He's the 49th International Master Counselor at DMLA International, and Kurt Larson, who was one of the speakers this morning at the conference in Houston. So, Dean, what's on the agenda now?
Well, Maynard, right now we have all the brothers that are in breakout groups going over the messages that was put out by Kurt this morning, and they're going to come back, and after that discussion, we're going to do a whiteboard session. So I'm going to really put the show on hold, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Get to that meeting.
I'll tell you what, folks who are interested and are listening, if you have questions, if you have comments, you can email us at podcast@scottishrite.org. We'll keep an eye on that email address throughout the day. And then at some point this afternoon, keep an eye also on the Scottish Rite Twitter feed, which, first of all, Elizabeth McCarthy has been doing a great job of keeping everybody abreast of what's happening, as well as Jeff Maynard there. And that Twitter feed is going to be your headquarters. So if we get a chance to do this again later this afternoon after the breakout sessions, you'll be able to tune in live again and find out exactly what's going on. I see you have found a special guest.
I have. It's your favorite friend here from the House of the Temple.
Good, Admiral Bill. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are things going at the workshop? We just had a great conversation with a young man from DMLA who just, great guy, a Master Mason now, and also a talk with Kurt Larson. So it's an honor to have you as always. How are you doing?
I'm doing terrific. We're having a great workshop. I just came out of classroom number 3 and just listened to the interaction discussion in there, and it was just terrific.
Yeah, I think you and I talked about this on the Tyler's Place March podcast. It's what's happening right now for men who have never been is we've broken the brothers up into groups, into smaller groups, and they're together discussing ideas, just throwing things together, and basically creating a list. And then a little later this afternoon, everybody's going to get together in one room, and each group is going to present its best ideas. So we're getting the best of the best, and everybody has a chance to participate, and it's really great. It's a really great group think type of thing, a lot of synergy, and like I said, everybody gets to be involved, which is just, brotherhood's what it's all about, Admiral Bill.
Hey, Maynard, I don't know if you have just broken up with us, so we're going to kick out right at the moment.
All right. Our technical advances are breaking down on us. So what we'll go ahead and do is we will close out the Tyler's Place Live for right now. Keep an eye on the Twitter feed. Elizabeth McCarthy will keep everybody up to date, along with Brother Jeff Maynard, who joins us on the Tyler's Place podcast quite often. I'm actually going to talk to Jeff a little bit later on myself. And also keep an eye on the Tyler's Place podcast app and the Tyler's Place podcast feed at Spreaker and on your iTunes subscription, because you'll be seeing some new things pop up there over the course of the day. So, Brother Dean, thank you very much. Admiral Bill, we'll talk talk to you soon. Gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, as always. And again, you can email us podcast@scottishrite.org. I'm your host, Maynard Edwards, and we'll catch you in just a little while on the Tyler's Place live from Houston.